Okay, so in this video I wish to demonstrate the R5 Dodoco Tales versus an R5 Witasith using Yanfei as a main DPS. For the purpose of this, the main test subject will be the Cryo Regisvine. Okay, here we go. First up, R5 Widsith. So, we rolled Elemental Mastery on the Widsith here. What the Widsith does is whenever the character takes the field, they gain a random theme song for 10 seconds. So that can only happen once every 30 seconds, meaning you have 20 seconds of downtime. But since my Widsith is max refinement, they either get 120% extra attack, 96% to all elemental damages, or 480. Now, my Yanfei has fine crit rate and way too much crit damage. But this is mostly really high because of the Widsith, with its crit damage substat. So, while her attack is usually pretty low, right now she's getting bolstered by Bennett. This is what she looks like when she's got all the support up, and with the Widsith active. My talents level 868, and I have no constellations. So here's the build. It's 4-piece Burning Witch, crit rate hat. Fire rolled a lot of crit damage. This feather has more crit rate and a bit of crit damage. We've got some crit rate on this. It's not maxed out yet. I just haven't gotten around to maxing that. Not a very good one. I just can't find better. This one is Pyro Damage Goblet from the Burning Witch set. Not fantastic, not bad either. Then we've got Crit Rate Hat. So, that was with a roll into Elemental Mastery. Okay. Head and move elsewhere to sort of, I guess, refuel all of our ultimates. Let's just go over here. So, next up, I'm going to hope that I get a different roll on the Widsith. So, I want to test this with various rolls with the Widsith. Okay, just okay, so Regifine respawned yet? It has. Cool. So, now we'll do the same thing, and this time we will hope that we get either attack or elemental damage. See how we can test. So, this time we rolled Elemental Mastery again, sadly. But I feel like I did a lot better that time with my execution. Alright. Just have to... I'm probably not going to be able to roll the others, I guess. That's disappointing. Go here. I'm going to fill up my ult again, and then this time I'm going to use Dodoco Tales. So, Yanfei definitely is just so much more powerful when we've got the Elemental Mastery up, but that's only because of Xingqiu. I believe that when if she were solo, then she would be Elemental Mastery wouldn't do all that much for her. So the goal of this video is to demonstrate just when you'd want to use each of these weapons. And I know that not everyone's going to have the Widsith, and not everyone's going to have Yanfei, but this applies to many characters. Personally, I feel like Dodoco Tales is, although it looks like it's made for Klee, I feel like it reads like it's just made for Yanfei. Because when you're using Yanfei, doing your normal attacks already makes your charge attack. Because your charge attack is stronger for each Scarlet Seal it consumes, and you get a Scarlet Seal every time you hit someone with one of your auto attacks. And what Dodoco Tales does is it's going to, when we use Dodoco Tales, it's going to be normal attacks on opponents will increase our charge attack damage by 32% for 6 seconds. Then hitting someone with a charge attack increases our attack by 16% for 6 seconds. So we're going to have almost a constant buff because Yanfei's not so worried about the cooldowns. Now, as you can see, her attack went up significantly. It's definitely got a lot more attack. We lost that almost 60% crit damage. Let's see. Now, I'm not worried about losing the crit damage, but the thing is that with the Widsith, it's just not reliable. By the way, if you build Yanfei, you should use more energy recharge than I do. Every time I go into a fight, I have to kind of do some setup, as you can see. This Yanfei build is far from complete. It's just, I feel like it's pretty good. Oh god, are you serious? I thought it'd be respawned by now. Alright. Well, I guess I can go over the other builds here. So we've got Xingqiu here is built, he's primarily built just to provide Vaporize. Now, I didn't want to exaggerate Yanfei's damage too much, or I would have gone almost all into Elemental Mastery and gone 4-piece Noblesse Oblige with him. But I wanted to show off just Yanfei with this little boost of being able to get Vaporize consistently. He uses the Sacrificial Sword because energy recharge and his elemental skill has a long cooldown, and what the goal is for that is just always have his ult ready to go. My Bennett is probably one of my better builds. He's not built as a healer. He is built purely just to give as much attack as he can. So I've raised his attack up to 2700. He's got a Skyward Blade. Artifacts are 4-piece Noblesse Oblige. Constellation C2. You need at least C1 if you're really going to use him. His talents, I obviously favored the ult. So, and then Zhongli here is min-maxed for HP, but I decided to keep Geo Damage Bonus Cup instead of swapping over to my HP Cup. So, the goal for my Zhongli is just to make a shield that just won't break, because all I want with him is I want to make sure that my characters like Yanfei don't get interrupted constantly. Now, nice thing about Yanfei is that her Scarlet Seals, not only do they buff her pyro damage, buff her charged attack, and come out of these things as well as her autos. They also increase, I believe, or is that a constellation? Alright, so yeah, if you get C1, you're going to be reducing the stamina cost and increasing your resistance to interruption for each Scarlet Seal consumed. Now, I don't have C1, but if you did, then Yanfei really wouldn't have any issues with stamina. Sadly, currently she does. It's good to level her ult up because it increases the charge attack damage bonus when you do. Then, obviously, upgrading her normal attacks because that also increases her charge attack damage. As you can see, she has really high charge attack damage. I don't have C6, so I can't get this, but 221% is, well, let's see. If you look at Eula with her autos at level 8, her highest damage on any single hit is her final attack of the charged, and that's 213. And then you've got, let's see, Mona. Attributes 210. It's really, really strong, especially for something it's pretty fast, let's be honest. Now, nice thing about Dodoco Tales is that I don't have to, oh shoot, okay, I don't have to worry about, Dodoco Tales, I don't have to worry about making sure that Yanfei isn't in until the end. God damn it. Alright. Well, so I don't have to worry about making sure that Yanfei isn't in until the end. So I can actually speed up the beginning part. I don't have to wait for Bennett's cooldown. I don't think that Yanfei is the best DPS in this game. I just think she's really good. I'm not going to say she's better than Klee. But I don't think she's necessarily all that much worse than Klee. I believe it's just different levels. Like, they do different things. So this is Yanfei with Dodoco Tales at R5. Now I do believe that if the Wittesith is R3 or lower, you're going to have significantly less damage every time, just because at R3 or lower, I believe that the Elemental Mastery bonus will not be enough to go higher than the charge attack bonus we get from Dodoco Tales. I believe that the Elemental Damage bonus will still be enough to do more buffing than Dodoco Tales, but I do not think that the attack would, just because of how much more attack Dodoco Tales gives her than the Widsith does. Let's see. Could test her on something else, I guess. So, when you're building Yanfei, you do want a lot of crit rate. Her attacks aren't particularly fast. They're not super slow, but they're not fast. So, you want to make sure that they do big damage as often as you can. So, higher crit rate is better. I do like having a good deal of crit damage on her. So this one's probably not going to be as impressive as the Regisvines might have been. Alright. Shoot. Shoot. Okay. So, the way that... Just make sure that when you're using Yanfei, you are able to get out your... shoot. You're using Yanfei, make sure you're able to get out your auto attacks before you do your charge attacks, because they really do just make that much of a difference. The Scarlet Seals are really strong. Oh, no crit. Lame. Okay, no crit on that, but we do know that if we had crit, then because of the 131%, that was, shoot, what was that? Anyways, that would have been a pretty big number. Not massive, but still pretty big. I do believe that Yanfei would, just to make her more reliable overall, you're going to use an attack timepiece instead of an elemental mastery one. Let's see. Yanfei is not super good at nuking just because she does need those normal attacks before she does her strong one, which is her charged attack. Because then a lot of setup, you're going to lose that reaction to your first attacks. She's still not bad, though. Her ultimate and her elemental skill don't have a whole lot of really good scaling. But they do have, so what her elemental skill does is it does a bit of damage, and it automatically replenishes all of your Scarlet Seals. So it lets you essentially do 2 full power charge attacks in a row. Okay. I do wish that her ult needed less energy than it does. How much does it need? We check talents, bullets, skill attributes. Energy cost 80. Yeah, I wish it didn't cost 80. All of the 80 energy ults are pretty hard to get back up. I think that she would be a lot stronger of a character if it were even just brought down to 60. But luckily, we have Bennett, who can act as a battery for other pyro characters really efficiently, because his elemental skill has a 4-second cooldown and generates plenty of elemental particles. Okay, so drop the rock, pull out a shield. That got a little bit rough. So, I think that Yanfei's real strength lies in that she can work with so many characters, and even though she's not going to be dishing out the damage that you see from a lot of 5 stars, unless you put in a lot more effort than I have, she's just fantastic for she's not that hard to get. She's fantastic for a 4-star DPS, and she is a Pyro DPS, and that's extremely important. When you look at Pyro characters that we have in this game, so we've got Yanfei, 4-star Pyro DPS. There's Bennett, Pyro Support. Zhongling, either physical DPS, or you have the Dragon's Bane, and then you can play Pyro DPS. Then you got Amber, who, you know, you can try. But other than that, oh, and Xinyan, who is either physical DPS, although not very good at it. She's either physical DPS or she's going to be a supporter and a shielder. So we look at the character archive. We've got Hu Tao, Pyro DPS, but 5-star, also limited. You can't get her right now. Klee, you could get her right now, but she's still limited. She's going to be gone again soon. Pyro DPS, yeah, but hard to get. Diluc, he's not limited. He is on the standard banner, but also he just, yeah, he's very good, but he just can't compare to some of the others. Basically, she is the only easily acquired 4-star Pyro DPS in the game currently, at least in my opinion. Having that is extremely helpful, particularly because of the current Spiral Abyss, which is alright, here we go. So yeah, the current Spiral Abyss, we've got floor 9, which is, as you can see, cryo enemies, kind of, just one, but you know. And cryo enemies, more cryo enemies. We have floor 10, we've got cryo enemies, and then more cryo enemies, and then more cryo enemies, and then more cryo enemies. So having a Pyro DPS is extremely helpful here, and Zhongling's cooldown, at least for me, I find it difficult to manage in Spiral Abyss. And Bennett just, my Bennett just doesn't have the damage he needs to go in here and act as my sole Pyro dealer. So having Yanfei in the current Spiral Abyss is extremely helpful. Not to mention, she does have pretty decent range, and she works really well just in Spiral Abyss in general, not just against the cryo enemies here, because she can, she has that little explosion at the end of her charge attack, which means that it works against Geo enemies as well, and also it has that little knockback. It's going to push the enemies off their feet, get them in the air, and that's helpful, especially in the defend the monolith things. But Yanfei is, I think she's very good. And while she does get a whole lot better when you use her with Zincho, she does not need him. Let's see. Just the Vaporize on every hit is very nice. Running her with another Pyro will help bolster her attack, which her base attack is pretty low. As you can see, she's got a level 90 weapon right now, and her base attack is pretty low. And then we've got, now, so the really interesting thing about Yanfei is that she ends up buffing her stats a ton. So when she's in combat, she gets extra Pyro damage. She's going to be getting, let's see, we're going to be getting extra Pyro damage bonus from this. And we're getting extra hits when you crit. That's part of why you want extra crit rate. When you crit on a charge attack, you're going to do another hit without using stamina. And it's going to do 80%, which, while that just sounds like, but it's weaker, that's fine but not fantastic. When you look at the other things in this game that have a similar effect, like Amber's first constellation, you get 2 arrows instead of 1, 20%. And then we've got, Hmm. This one, it also, so it makes her taunt. So Mona's here makes her taunt while she's dashing without using without using it and giving you a cooldown. Well, that only does 50% damage. We've got Kaching's first constellation, which is going to do only 50% of her damage. Got Eula here, who's doing 50% of her damage. But, like, just all of these characters that have similar things, it's just less. And this also says that this counts as charge attack damage, which means that your ult buffs it. It gets buffed by if you decide to run Four-Piece Wanderer's Troop, which you absolutely can. That's really good. That works. And it gets buffed by Dodoco Tales here. And then if you look at her constellations, it's a lot of it's geared towards charge attack. More resistance and less stamina. We've got increased crit rate from her charge attack. That's a shield, and then we've got an extra Scarlet Seal, which buffs your charge attacks. So, because this counts as charge attack damage, and it's such a high percentage compared to everything else, it's like, to me, this character feels like a 5-star. I don't know. If you can, I suggest giving her a try. Dodoco Tales, probably. Also, let's see. If you have Mona, it would work fine on Mona if you're trying to play her as a DPS. I would not suggest using it on Sucrose, just because Sucrose doesn't really do charged attacks all that often. I've been pondering on DPS Barbara with Dodoco Tales, and it sounds good because her charged attack is really strong. It's level 1 and it's 166%. Then Ningguang as well would probably also use it really well, just because when she does a normal attack, she gets the Star Jades. And then when she does a charge attack, it releases all of those. I'm going to check something. Do the Star Jades count as charge attack damage? I don't know. If the Star Jades do count as charge attack damage, then I believe that Ningguang would definitely be one of the better users of it. But I'm not positive on that. As you can tell, I don't really use my Ningguang. I'm coming up on 30 minutes here, so I'm going to have to end the video now. I have videos on some team comps and of just some of my builds. I encourage you to check those out. I plan to release a few things explaining the way that these builds work and how they actually interact with the rest of the game. Bye!